Yeah, thanks for letting me speak. You're probably wondering what the volleyball coach is doing here. How fast is this going to go? But really proud of the girls. I started here 6 years ago. When I came here, the program had won one conference game in 2 years prior. And we got to the tournament pretty quickly in 3 years. And then COVID came and the wheels fell off, and we had to do a rebuild on a rebuild, which I've never been a part of before. So we all learned a lot, but really, I know it's cliche stuff, but super proud of the girls for sticking together, for building through this, and the coaches and everyone who's had their hands in it. So it's been a really meaningful year.
Questions?
Hey, Coach, Jordan Hill at Dogs 247. You talked about coming in here. Just what did it take, especially dealing with COVID, as far as just laying the blueprint for this program and where it is now compared to when you first stepped in?
I think during COVID, I think we all just kind of felt, especially as coaches, just kind of felt like we were in a washing machine. You don't know what you don't know, and the quarantines are happening, and there's no stability with anything, and it's not just volleyball, that's life. I think we were all experiencing that to different degrees. So it's kind of like COVID happened to everyone, but it happened differently to everyone. So for us, it was really challenging. We never really felt like we had our feet under it, and I just think for me as a coach, again, you don't know what you don't know, and as a coach, you're going to do what allowed you to be successful in the past, but it was just becoming more and more apparent to me that it just wasn't working. And so obviously I had to make a lot of changes myself. So it was just a really turbulent year and a half. And like I said, so I'm really grateful we were all able to learn the lessons and come out of it.
Tom, obviously you guys play season the same time as football. I mean, have you found just what's it like to be a varsity sport playing when there's so much attention on football? Is there a vacuum there, or is it something that you obviously try to use for your benefit?
You're asking me a very nuanced question. So I think there's a lot to that. Obviously, beyond excited for how the football team's doing. They're going to continue to do great, and that drives the train. I also think I also know volleyball is the biggest team sport in America, and it's the only sport of all the major sports in terms of women's sports that have continued to grow over the last 3 years. So I do believe if women's volleyball was men's volleyball at this size, it would be constantly on TV and constantly talked about. So I think it's a two-pronged answer. I think the women's volleyball community needs to support the women's volleyball community better, and I also think this sport deserves more attention, and deserves more support. I haven't gotten anyone who's gone to a volleyball game that thought it was boring or didn't think it was an exciting product, and so we're going to get there for sure, and that's independent of football. So football's having great success, and we love watching football. It's super exciting, and I think volleyball is exactly the same. So I'm excited for the day when volleyball takes the place that it's already there. It's a sleeping giant. So.
Yeah, Tom, you mentioned that the team had won one conference game the previous 2 years before you got there. What does it take to change a culture from that point of view and instill the belief that these players can win?
Yeah, like I said, it's a rebuild of a rebuild, which I haven't been a part of. So I've been a part of rebuilding programs. So when you're rebuilding a program, there's a lot of excitement in the air because the team hasn't had a lot of success, so that everybody feels like they're learning. The progress from really bad to good is actually pretty quickly, and then the rate from like good to really good, that stuff's really slow. But that initial year of getting better is super exciting and motivating, and so as challenging as it is to start winning games, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of motivation. But I think what I'm learning, when you rebuild a rebuild, it's like, hey, I already thought we were good. What's going on? And it makes it really challenging. Like, how do we rebuild that faith in each other, in us, and the coaching staff? So that's a lot more challenging, and you really are trusting in the process, trying to remember the things that you're good at, and then you got to rebuild. You have these relationships that you thought were strong, and now they're in a bad spot. If anyone's married, we can all relate to that. But so it's harder. It's a lot harder. So there's not the same motivation of getting good because you've already gotten the players better. So it's a challenging experience again. I'm really grateful we were able to work through it. We all learned a lot.
Tom, what do you see as the ceiling for Georgia volleyball, given the history and tradition here?
Yeah, I mean, I personally have 3 goals as a coach: to create a national elite program here, to teach the girls the process, to do the next hard thing and enjoy it as much as I can. So I mean, I came here because I think the sky's the limit for Georgia. I'd lived in Southern California all my life. I was at a school I was really happy at, but as soon as I stepped here for the interview, I was like, this place could be incredible. And the thing that resonates with me is that this school means so much to the whole state. You know, you really do feel like you're bigger. It's bigger than yourself, and I really want to be something that's a part of that. So I do believe in my core we're going to continue to build this, and I believe we can be as good as anywhere. And when that day comes, it's going to be really exciting. So.
You'll finish 13-5 and in a conference that had 7 teams make the tournament. Just kind of talk about playing in the SEC and competing in the conference this year.
Yeah, I mean, so 7 teams made it. It's the most in the country, which is incredible for some of the parity we have in the Power 5. So that just speaks to the strength of the conference. So you can imagine what it's like playing night in and night out. So really exciting, the level of play, the attention that's coming to it, and it's only going to get stronger with the expansion in a couple of years. So, you know, we're already one of the top conferences, and I think I do believe it's a matter of time before we become either premier or just one of the 2 big premier ones along with the Big Ten. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question too, Coach. Just looking at this list of national champions and Stanfords and Nebraskas and Penn States, I guess Kentucky crashed the party. But what's the next? You know, how does the SEC take? Is it just a matter of investing in facilities, or is this going to come down to NIL money too?
I think it's a matter of time. I think I've only been here 6 years, and it's already completely transformed with the level of coaches. There's been a lot of changes since I've been here already. The level of coaches has only gotten way stronger, and with that, the level of players that are coming to the conference is way stronger. I mean, the attention and the spotlight on the SEC couldn't be stronger, and that casts a net into all sports. You know, and so volleyball players pay attention to that as well. So it's only growing, and like you said, Kentucky already won it, and it's just a matter of time until the next one. So it's going in the right direction.
Tom, talking about the competition in the SEC, just what did it mean to you to get the Coach of the Year award?
Yeah, you're gonna get me emotional, but so the thing about coaching is, you know, no one sees you do it if you're doing it right. I mean, you're doing it when the doors are closed. All everyone sees is the product that's on the floor. So if that award happens, it's because the people on the floor when it matters are doing it again and again and again and again. So like, you know, when I think of like someone like this and how far she's come and her teammates and you know, my assistant coaches and our strength coach and our nutritionist. I mean, like, these people were in the trenches, like, through this COVID year, and I'm so far away from doing this by myself, it's not even funny. I mean, it's so unbelievably a team effort, and just really proud. I hope everybody feels like they have a hand in it, because that's really what it was. We all hunkered down and got through this, so I just really take it as a reflection of what we all did together, and I hope that's how everybody takes it.
Coach, could you provide somewhat of a synopsis for how you guys were able to achieve what you've been able to so far this season?
Yeah, it's kind of like I said. I thought, you know, COVID was a dark time for us. The players decided to stick together. She could have gone anywhere, played. Anyone would have wanted her. And I was in Europe on a trip, and she told me she's staying. And so the decision by her and her teammates to stay was the first thing. The decision by myself and the coaching staff and all the staff around us, like, hey, we got to do this better. Like, we got to get more out of them somehow. And then a great incoming class, you know, with our freshman and Sophie Fisher, you know, having a huge impact. And I think it was those 3 things. And then we just got to work. And the work is what you never know what you know what you need to do, but you don't know how it's going to work out and what it's going to look like and how people. And that's the meaningful part of it. But I think it was, in a nutshell, it's probably those 3 things coming together.
Speaking of Sophie Fisher, I saw that she made all-conference team. So did Casey Evans. What did they mean to your team this year, making an impact and a difference?
Yeah, she's okay. I mean, yeah, they both meant everything in 2 different ways. So when I think of Casey, I just think of loyalty in a day and age where it's instant gratification. Like, what's the next best thing for you? She did the opposite of that. She stayed when it was hard, and I think that earned the instant respect of her teammates and her coaching staff. And she finally got a year under her belt where she's not getting quarantined every 3 months, and so she was really able to show what she could do, and she's only going to get better next year. So I think of Casey, I think of loyalty and dedication and commitment to the program and what that stands for. You know, Sophie's the opposite. She came in this year, and she was just a breath of fresh air on and off the court. It was just obvious what she could do on the court. And she just wants the team to be successful, and that's where she's coming from. She's a no-drama individual, and I think that's spread throughout the group. And so Casey showing the loyalty and Sophie coming in with the injection of things that she brought, I thought it was a really, really lucky contrast that helped build the whole team up.
A couple more questions.
Can you just speak to the first-round matchup and just getting started in the tournament?
Yeah, so we just learned last night we're playing Towson, so I'm only a match through it, but they've obviously had a ton of success. They've dominated their conference. They beat Pitt at Pitt. Again, I'm only a match through it, but they're really deadly on the left. They have 2 lefts who can score. They're pretty well balanced on offense. They have some other threats. They serve tough. So for us, it's another competitive, tough match. Let's go. So, but we know they're good, and we'll keep building our plan over the next 2 days. So fast turnaround.
Any more questions for Coach? All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, senior outside hitter Casey Evans was also named All-SEC yesterday for the 2nd time in her career. Questions for Casey?
What's it like playing for the coach there?
Oh, I mean, yeah, he's okay. No, I mean, starting back in the recruiting process, I was 15 turning 16, and I actually got offered from the old staff at Georgia. And then when I found out that Tom was coming in, I was like, okay, like, here we go. Saw his background, I said, all right, I'm ready. So I ended up calling him in March of 2017, and I said, I'm committing to the University of Georgia. And ever since then, like, we've had many talks. I remember my first conversation I had with him. He goes, you need to get better. I said, okay. And that year, freshman of the year, that says a lot, because, like, it just showed that him and I had tough conversations, and I pushed it through. And, he's been one of my idols for a really long time since I've been committed. And I look up to him a lot for, the loyalty that I have, just, like, the strength and, like, the poise that he has. It says a lot about his character, so.
Well, how can you speak to the Georgia volleyball being consistently good? I mean, I understand there's a lot of great volleyball players that come through the high school ranks in the state, but it's been difficult for Georgia to stay on top when it's got there. What do you think needs to happen, and how does the transfer portal figure in all that?
It's tough to say, just because I could say I'm one of the athletes that's been through, normal season and a complicated season. And the transfer portal really affects that too, just because there's so many athletes in the portal, just because, 5th year stuff going on and all that. I just think for this team, as long as we just know where we're at in our conference, just because our conference is so powerful and so good that we can just, keep escalating based on recruiting classes, making sure our commitments are high and our standards are high. So that's what I would say.
There were a couple of questions to Coach just about the competition in the SEC. What is it like playing volleyball in the SEC and just the challenge of those matches?
Unreal. That's all I got to say about that. And each year it gets better. And that's the one thing about this conference that I love so much. It's the battle between each team, and all these upsets that are happening within the conference. It's amazing, and it's amazing to be on a team that really sees that growth and really can play for that. And I just think, with our competitive attitude that we have, like, as a whole, it just shows a lot that we can be, top 3 maybe every year after this. So it says a lot.
You come from an athletic family. Your mom played at Akron, and then your dad played football at Kent State. Just what have they meant to you, growing up and, maturing you as a volleyball player?
I mean, I've said it from day one, ever since I played. Apparently I was born in the womb, is what my mom liked to say it. She knew I was going to be a volleyball player. Just because, just from their past that they've had. My dad also played club a little bit when he was in college, and he got to learn and teach himself how to basically play the game and coach the game. And they were actually my first coaches when I first started playing volleyball, so it's kind of forced into that, but that's okay. But, they mean a lot to me based about the successes I've had, and also just getting me here where I'm at today. They're a blessing. I love them both, and it's awesome.
And follow up, when UGA played Kent State earlier this year, was it 50-50 or?
It was pretty 50-50. I actually wanted my dad to come to that game so bad, because I know he misses playing the game, and fortunately he couldn't come down because they were actually watching my brother play over, I don't know where they were at, but they were watching him play, so just kind of the passing down.
What's your excitement level just getting ready for the start of the NCAA tournament and getting back in?
I mean, if my excitement could go through the roof right now, it should. It's being back for the 2nd time in my career. It's amazing. And, going to Gregory Gym out in Austin, Texas, like, that's been one of my dreams for a really long time. Just, watching the Texas play for a long time and being able to play Towson, a really good opponent for their conference. They're conference champions, I think, this past year. So it's a good team. And this round of 64, like, I'm looking at the bracket from yesterday, and it's like, I could say these are the top 64 teams in the country. So it's a blessing to be a part of that.
A couple more questions for Casey.
What was the biggest win of the year for you this year?
Oh, wow. There's a lot. Sweeping LSU twice was fun. I could say that because they're a very athletic team, and it's all about the battle at the very last game of conference regular season, and we went in like knowing they have an athletic roster, and they have an upperclassman that's very good, and we just had to go out there and do our jobs, and that was just one of my favorite things about us is like I even remember we were down the first day, we were down 20-12, and the grit that we had, we're like, okay, we are not taking this team to 4. Like, we are going to sweep them. And it's been a little while since we swept a team in the regular season. So, we came back, we were fighting every point, and I think we ended at like 31-29 or something like that. So that just shows the grit that we have, and, just didn't want to stop fighting. I think another win, also, obviously, probably sweeping Florida as well, at Florida. It's great rivalry that we have with them. They have a great coach, great athletic roster as well. And also just knowing that we can beat teams in our conference, it's bound to happen, and we, and it goes back to the grit that we have. This team is unreal for how competitive we are, and it just shows based on the performance we've had.
Any more questions? All right, thank you all so much.
Thank you,
Casey.
guys.
Thank you.